All right, now recording. All right, so we're having a conversation between you and Usul is not part of this conversation, right? This is when Usul
Yeah,
went
no, no,
back
it's
to
just us.
collect them or do whatever. Is that right?
Yeah, he can collect them, and then I mean
Okay,
they were going to give us another bag as well. So if they
right.
secure the bag, I'll take that second bag and just
Okay,
and have a few little stones in there because I'll probably go and get some more downstairs.
right. So as you ask, the group more information on what they know about the Slotty, Brevin is going to be the one that probably is the most knowledgeable. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, Joe Dell has encountered some of them, fought with some of them, and he's the one that kind of uncovered the fact that the Slotty were um, the ones that corrupted, or led, or coerced, whatever word you want to use, the Centaur into joining their cause. It's only been more here recently where the Knolls and even humanoids have kind of been joining the ranks. He doesn't
Yeah,
understand how they're able to do that, but again, the horde is growing to more than just the Centaurs and the Slotty. It seems like they're adding more and more other races to their cause.
yeah.
But
I'll
as
say,
far
is
as
that because they're taking over the main people and then just subverting them and then getting them all on side, or just because they think it's a war that they're going to win?
and and Joe Dell and Cudwar will kind of agree, both of us. That's something we're contemplating whether or not that is the case, because we know they've been, and that's what we're going to talk about here in a little more detail about. They've been taking over certain people, and
Mm,
Brevin here, and the point over to him, he's kind of shared us with more of their um, capabilities that have been explained to him from the Gith Zerai. He hasn't
yeah,
witnessed this stuff firsthand, but they obviously have this infesting capability. We're not 100% sure how that works, and as we understand, there's a couple of the Slotty that have been taken into the barracks for further testing to see if we can figure that out. So again, we're not 100% sure how people get infected or infested by them,
yeah,
but that is always, from what we've seen and what we've heard and talked to sources, that is always something that turns deadly. Nobody very rarely survives from that unless they're, like I said, in JAS. They had a few people in the infirmary that were able to successfully extract these things, but if they're outside the help of the infirmaries, these things always end up bursting through their guts or whatever, and killing the host. So
yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
again, we haven't been able to keep any of these little parasite things alive long enough. Even when we capture them, they die after a few days, almost like they shrivel up. Um, so we haven't been able to
Yeah.
keep them long enough. We're assuming that these are things that turn into Slotty. They could turn into something else. They could be like just forms of killing other things. We don't know yet.
Yeah,
But
perhaps our world's toxic to them, and that's why they need the host so they can synthesize our body. So maybe chucking one into a bag of holding because it's another dimension might keep one around for a bit longer. What do you reckon?
we haven't tried that, so it's always a possibility. Now we know
Yeah.
these things reside, well, the Slotty do at least, within the plane of chaos, which
Mm.
there are pockets of air within there. So, but we speculate that the Slotty don't necessarily need air to survive. We don't
Yeah.
know that with any certainty. I mean, they
Yeah.
have lungs on them. We've seen that, but we don't know how know how they survive. And through Brevin here, and Brevin start chiming as yeah, and that's so. Let's talk about some of the details that I do know or have been informed of these Slotty. As Jodell said, they reside. Their home is in the plane of chaos. We talked about the spawning stone, and that's where we need to go to. But they are at one with the chaos within the plane. By that I mean they have been known to just walk right through a firestorm or glide right through a, a cloud of acid as if it's
Mm.
not there. Now that happens within the plane of limbo. Outside, they can't necessarily walk right through it, but they are obviously a little bit more, how we say, resistant to those type of elemental um, types of damage, potential damage. So
Gotcha.
So again, ice, wind, fire. I think even some of them are resistant to electrical charges. But within the plane of limbo, it's like it's nothing. They can glide right through it. So they get some kind of power from the plane itself to help uh, repel those type of things. Now, as far as the uh, not knowing if someone is infested or whatnot, there's another process that Slotty can do. Again, I haven't witnessed it. I've only heard tales of it. That they can basically they have some kind of a power, and I think it's more of their magic users that can somehow convert a humanoid into one of them to where they can shape change into that humanoid anytime they want. And when they do this procedure, whatever else it is, they do gain the knowledge of that host, but the host is no more. It's no longer that humanoid. It's actually that Slotty in disguise.
Okay, so they know up to the point where they took them over, but they don't. Okay, good.
So because we've had a few back in the plane of limbo that try to do it with some Gizzerai, and what they told me is when they meet the I guess the I don't know what the terminology is the affected, not infected, but the ones that have had this transformation happen to them, they've greeted them and they've look just like them, they act just like them, they know things they should know as that Gith, but once their opportunities came, they attacked the Gith in disguise, attacked, and when that Gith was killed, it automatically transformed back to its native state of a Slotty. So
Right.
again, that shape changing, I guess, ability of the Slotty is real, and that's where we think that's how we think they got their foothold within the Centaurs. Again, we
Yeah.
have not found any Centaurs as of yet in any kind of battles we've had that have transformed back into a Slotty once it was dead.
Mm.
However, we know how the Centaurs work. They are a very, well, they were, maybe still are, a very prideful tribe with a hierarchy. So we know that if it was me, if I wanted to infiltrate and subvert these guys, I would only target the leaders within the Centaur tribe, take over their form, and then start spreading lies or whatever you want to call it to subvert these guys to attack humanoid settlements. Because as you're well aware, these guys, the Centaurs, have always been peaceful and are trading tribes with us, but it's only been the past few years where we've seen more and more of these um, hostile tribes take over. So again, we have no proof of this, but that's what we believe is potentially going on here. So again, we're not exactly sure how this transformation happens, but we know it happens because we've seen a few that this has happened to. Does that answer your questions, or was there something else I could possibly answer
Yeah,
for you?
no, that certainly helps understand it. So you're talking about this Chaos Stone. Who made it?
The spawning stone.
Yeah.
The spawning stone has been around longer than Faerun. Some say the spawning stone is what created the gods. Some say the gods created it. The answer to your question is I don't know. We don't know how it got there. We don't know how long it's been there. All I know is that per the information I've got from the Gizzerai, when they first arrived eons ago, the spawning stone was already there. The
Wow.
Slotty have
So
been
we're going
there
to be
longer than
drilling into
anybody.
something that's that old.
Yes, yes, we are.
Okay. And they've got these funny stones that in heads. I'm just wondering if there's any way. I know that they can affect people and absorb the person's knowledge. Is there any way, or has anyone ever been able to do that backwards? Have they been able to be using something of what the Slard have to be able to join back with the stone, or have they been able to get control of the mind? It'd be interesting to know of all the Slardies, which one is the most? Is there like a hierarchy? Is there like the top Slard, a Slard king?
Well, well, the there's the Guardian, which the Guardian is the one who guards the spawning stone himself. And just so you're aware that some of the higher, I guess if you want to call them ranking sliders, not really a ranking order within the Sladia. They are a chaotic race as as anything can be. So it's just battle of the fittest. Whoever's the most strong just naturally rises the ranks and becomes the leader or de facto one they don't fuck with. But
Yeah.
there is the Guardian of the Stone, which is a gargantuan. Uh, don't know what it is. It looks nothing like the Sladia that you fought today, and it is constantly patrolling and guarding the stone from non-Slotty. When the Slotty have their mating season, they migrate to the stone based upon uh, their color, I guess so to speak. Typically, all the blues will go at once. Then, once they're done with their season, the reds will come, and then the greens, and then the grays. Each one of them there. I will tell you that from my knowledge and what I've seen here so far is the blue and the red are pretty much the grunts. Those are the frontline fighters. The
Yep.
magic users are typically more of a green in color,
Yep.
and there are a few that are smaller in stature. The gray ones. Some call them the Death Slotty, that are very powerful in magic and very powerful as a melee or a fighter in general. Other than
Okay,
that,
so they're the top of the tree. They're the top ranked guys.
well,
Um.
not necessarily. The
Oh.
Death Slotty are some of the most powerful, but there are basically right now, as I understand it, there are two factions. I say factions. There's two. I don't know what you call it. There's two mothers, if you want to call them that, of the Slotty that reside over them, but they're not really like a king or a dictator. They are the ones that are all powerful, and but there's not really like a loyalty to them. And they are again, they're kind of like this, the Guardian. They are a totally different kind of beast or monster that kind of is the ever powerful. And the rumors or traditions or whatever you want to call it say that when one of these gray slotty rise enough in power, they will challenge one of these mothers to kind of become the new mother of the race or the faction or whatever you want to call it here. So how
Oh.
often that happens, I don't know, but it's evidently it's an ever-changing thing. And they even say that the Guardian itself is something that may have once been one of these mothers. But again, we have no proof of that, of how that works.
Okay. All right. So the way it works, you think it's blue and reds are sort of the grunts. Green's a magic user. Greys are the grey is the death slard. Is that right, or is a grey slard and a death slard different?
They've been called both, so that's as far as I can tell.
Okay. All right. So they're the top end. So if something's going to be trying to dig around and be super smart and work it out, it's either a greeny one, or worst case scenario, it's a grey or a black one. Um, so and it wouldn't be a mum because they're going to be away and they're sorted out. And there's two factions of them, which is interesting. So um, maybe we could get them have a kick each other's butt a little bit and cause confusion enough. I mean, they are chaotic um, to the Guardian, so we can get in and do some drilling. Or how would we look like Slard? Is there anything that would make us seem to be a Slard to other Slards but not be one? So we can do some drilling without major attack. I mean, these gems that we got that we found in their head, maybe they can make us seem to be our enemy, to our enemy.
And see, the three of them kind of look at each other and says, "We haven't considered that before." That's a that's a good
I
point.
know
Now,
it. I know it's funny. I talk about deceit, and I'm a paladin, but it's know your enemy. If you could do something like that, then we'll have an easier time of getting uh, into the gem. But not only that, we could cause so much chaos amongst the chaos.
right? So let's let's have this conversation tomorrow
Yeah,
with the entire group. Are you okay with that? Because at that time I can share what I had. This is Brevin talking. Sorry.
yeah,
At that time I can share what my initial plans were, and we can kind of compare notes as to which path we should take. But that's
yeah.
intriguing. I haven't
No,
thought about trying to use these gems or disguise ourselves as Slotty. I will tell you that they are quite keen of detecting uh, fellow, I don't know if it's illusions or shape changers or something like that. They seem to have this innate ability to pick out things like that. So I can't say with any certainty that it will or won't work, but just saying it's something that we need to consider.
yeah. I'll try and ask the powers above if that's some sort of thing that we could do. But look, if we can use these, I mean, these stones seem to be their greatest. What would you call it? Their greatest attack, but they could also be their greatest bane.
And at that, Cudwar will turn to Brevin and says, how did Talum do it, Brevin?" And Brevin will kind of look at him a little bit and says, as my grandfather told it, it was with the help of the Gith. I don't remember him saying anything about him disguising himself as Slotty. So again, this may work, but last time he did this, it was through the help of the Gith, and they were able to uh, stealthily make their way to the spawning stone.
Hmm.
So, but anyway, that was last time. This is probably a totally new. Uh, this is a totally new quest we got to do here. Maybe what he did won't work. I don't know. I really don't
Yeah.
know.
What's the estimate of how long we would need to drill for to
Uh,
get
he,
what we need?
and Brevin kind of holds up one hand. So that's going to be a question for Kudwar. And Kudwar chime in and says, "Well, we haven't quite completed it yet, but all we can tell from the tomes, it just depends on where on the stone you can get to. Um,
Oh, so
from
there's a soft underbelly type of deal.
uh, again from the notes we have, which are from Brevin's great grandfather, that
Hmm.
the spawning stone itself is covered in some kind of a crust of
Okay.
ever changing chaos. I mean, one section could be fire, then it turns to molten lava, then it turns to water, then it turns to ice. It's constantly changing. So it's
Yeah.
trying to figure out how much of that you got to get through to get to the actual core is in question.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'd be the thinnest where they're going to be doing their mating, right? Because they'd have to get to the stone. So maybe you find out which ones are mating, and doing their thing. And just as that's either going to start or going to finish, probably just before it starts, it'd be good. You go there and it'll be the thinnest because it'll be opening ready for their kind to get to it.
Yeah, but they don't actually. This is Brevin speaking up. They don't actually mate on the spawning stone. It's just around it, all around it. It's almost like a swarm
Oh,
that are kind
no,
of
bugger. Okay.
keep a certain
Yeah, all
perimeter
right.
around the
So
stone.
yeah, there goes that idea. Well, look, I'll have a think about it tonight. But look, it's best I go under and find out if they're trying to dig their little buggerly ways up. Um, and I'll let you know via one of the miners or this cat here or whatever what's going on. So if there is problems down there, the first thing I'll do, like if I see new tunnels going your way, we'll let you know.
All right, so I'll. This is Cudwar speaking up. So I'll reach out to I forget his name off the top of my head, but the foreman, and let him
Yep.
know your intentions. And I imagine he'll be the one that probably wants to go down there with you and show you around.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So, yep. And I'll say, look, I think I'll probably be okay a fight against a blue one from what I've seen. Maybe a green one if I get nice and close because I love beating up magic users. Um, but one of these black ones, you say, yeah, keep clear,
Right. Right.
or a grey one, or a deathy one.
Okay.
Okay.
I
If I
hope
can bring
for.
one
I hope.
back,
Go ahead.
if I can bring one back unconscious, do you want to talk to it? Beat the You know, but oh,
That
well, yeah, maybe. But
that would
has anyone
be
knocked one out?
most beneficial if we could get one alive.
Yeah. All right, I'll try and knock one out.
All right. So let me just say, for your sake, I hope you're wrong about them being down the mines. But be safe, be smart, and don't try to be too much of a hero. Okay?
Gotcha.
All right. So let's end there. And then, like
Yep.
I said, sometime next week on Friday, I'll try to coordinate maybe with the other two guys that are wanting to be alternates, and we'll do a little one-off of you doing this little thing in the mines. You okay with that?
Yeah, excellent. All right,
Okay.
thanks, mate.
Awesome.
Have a
Cool.
good sleep.
Okay. You too,
And
buddy. Thank you.
good luck with your son for the wrestling tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Good night.
Okay, see you, bro.